Have you been considering rebranding your business? Well, before you dive in and start looking at mood boards and creating a logo and picking out colors, first take a step back and ask yourself a few questions. Rebranding can be a huge project, and it's not saying you want to be constantly redoing all the time, because it can take up a lot of time, and it takes time to establish a brand too and start to get people to recognize it and make something that's really memorable. So it's really important that before you do any rebranding, that you ask yourself a few questions to make sure you're doing it for the right reason and that you're approaching it in the right way. So the first question you should be asking yourself is, why do you want to rebrand? It's easy to just get bored of your branding or feel like I'm sick of seeing the same old thing, or I want something a little bit more trendy. So it's really important to ask yourself, why do I actually want this? Why do I feel that I need to rebrand? And is it just, a silly reason, like I'm just bored? Then you need to remind yourself that, even though you see your brand constantly all the time, your audience isn't actually bored of it like you are. They're only seeing it every now and again, mixed in with other brands that they're seeing. And by being consistent and it having that same look all the time, it's actually more memorable and recognizable to them. So if you realize your reasoning is just simply boredom, then you're probably not doing it for the right reason. So really think about, why do I want to do this? Why is it important? And is this something that I'm going to stick with? Am I going to really take the time to do something properly that I'm then going to stick with? Perhaps you created some simple branding when you started out, but now you've got more clarity about your brand, and so you really want to push things and get more professional with it and create a really robust brand identity. Or maybe it's that you've changed and pivoted your business in some way and you realize that your branding needs to adjust with that pivot. Or perhaps your current branding is actually starting to look dated. Maybe you created something that was very on trend at the time and you realize that now it's starting to look quite dated, and you need to create something that is going to fit with the current time, and it's also a little bit more timeless, so it's going to last longer this time around. Really get clear on why it is you want to do it to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and then it will help you also make sure that you don't make the same mistakes. So if you're doing it because you feel like something was wrong with your current branding, if you get clear on why you want to change it, then you can make sure that you don't make those same mistakes in your new branding. The question you should ask yourself is, what problem is this rebranding going to solve? So is there a problem in your business that you feel a rebrand is going to help with? Perhaps you're struggling to get in front of the right people, and so you want to change your branding to make sure that it really attracts the right kind of audience, because at the moment it's not quite connecting with the audience that you want to connect with. Or perhaps you had a different audience and you pivoted a bit and you're trying to aim at someone else, and so you need to change that branding to aim at those particular people. Or perhaps you want to change your brand positioning. Maybe you want to look more professional, or maybe you want to look more established, or perhaps you just want to change your position in the marketplace. So get clear on what it is that you're actually trying to achieve with this rebranding. What problems are you facing at the moment that you're trying to solve through having a rebrand, so that then when you go into that rebranding, you're making sure that you're approaching it from that point of view of, well, this is what I need to solve, and making sure that that new brand identity actually does solve that problem. And the third question that you should ask yourself is, why do you think your current branding isn't actually working? So you may have already touched on this a little bit when you looked at those first two questions, but it's really important to dig deep on why it is that it wasn't working, so that you can move forward in that new branding and make sure that it is going to work better for you. Perhaps it didn't look professional enough, perhaps your positioning was off, perhaps it wasn't attracting the right audience, perhaps it wasn't consistent enough, or you didn't have all the elements and so you'd just be adding things on the fly. Perhaps your color psychology was off, or maybe it was too trendy and you want something that's going to be a little bit more timeless and last longer. So really get to the root of what was going wrong with your last brand identity and how you can solve that with your new brand identity, and how you can avoid those mistakes this next time round. Before you dive into rebranding, whether you're going to be hiring it out or doing it yourself, do a little bit of that mini audit, ask yourself these questions, and make sure that you're doing it for the right reason, and that you're solving a problem, and that you're going to fix the things that were going wrong in the past, and that you really have a goal in mind, so that you can create something that's going to be a more stronger brand identity, is going to last longer, and is going to achieve the things that you want to achieve with your business. So I hope you found this helpful, especially if you're about to approach a rebrand and you're a bit unsure about it, and should I really be doing this, or how can I make sure I get it right this time? I hope these questions help you so that you can dig a little deeper and do an amazing job. Whether you're going to hire it out or do it yourself, it's really important to get clear on these things. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about branding, graphic design, and creativity, then be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.